All right, let's go into the papers this morning. It's time to review the headlines across papers in Nigeria. And we have joining us from the University of Lagos, Dr. Dan Ekere this morning. Dr. Ekere, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Let me. Thanks for having me.
Let me, if you grant me the latitude, let me add High Chief Dr. Dan Ekere.
Are you the kingmaker who gives titles and all that? All right, let's begin from the Punch newspaper. Buhari government confused, incompetent to stem killing, says Obasanjo. And IG must end killing of policemen now. Reps is saying that. Well, we're still hearing from former President Olusegun Obasanjo again on President Buhari.
Well, to a large extent, people want to see it as an attack on a president in line with what he has started. But I think it's beyond that, really. Because we are looking at the rate of killings, the consistency of the act, and the way and manner it is being carried out.
And then the body language of government.
Are you getting it? So it's not just Chief Obasanjo just saying this. This appears, even those in APC who still want to praise the president, when they leave his presence, I'm sure they have the same feeling. Because the way things are being done, it seems as if the government is helpless. And when you begin to hear people say that, oh, they are doing their best, they are doing this, it's because their family members have not been killed. Now, let it go to their communities. At that point, the same persons who are praising the president will raise the same issue. So we are thinking that the right thing to do really is to address this issue frontally. The question of, security chiefs cracking their brains, I think they should go beyond cracking their brains to the point of, bringing out what they have brought from the cracking of brains to act in such a manner. This is not new, because this has happened in so many other countries.
The word of the president is like law. When the president himself tell Nigerians, my security chiefs or security team are racking their brains, what do you expect? That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, but we want the action itself, okay. not the thinking alone.
But Dr. Dan, is there a sense, it was Professor Patrice Lumumba who asked a question, that how can it be that when Herodias is having an affair with a brother's wife, that John the Baptist not shout about it? Is it possible?
Well, that one would be beyond me, the way John the Baptist and his wife, were carrying out their activities. But this one in particular is something that I'm concerned about.
People must continue to shout.
Are you getting it? So for so long the killings are on, for so long shouting
must continue.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on now. Police parade suspected Chibok girls abductors and others, and you see young boys of many of them less than 25 years old who perpetrated this allegedly.
It's interesting to know that the suspects are being paraded.
Maybe some of them were said to have confessed to the...
Yeah, let it be true that they are actually those who carried out this act. Now, I am equally very convinced that the Boko Haram members have access to media. What is the use of this parade? Because these are people ordinarily you should scrutinize and get valuable information from. And I expect that some detailed works should be done behind the scene.
Or maybe it may have been done.
If truly it has been done, then it should have been the impact of what they have got from these people that we should be seeing, not the people being paraded alone.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. And the Nation newspaper leads with the realignment. Saraki, Wike, Tambuwal, Orton in defection talks.
Well, that is how the media captioned it. But I remember listening to Wike. He said he visited on account of the death of the mother of, what's the name now? One of these political chieftains. And that was what orchestrated the gathering. And, you would expect that people would gather in that manner and there will be, so...
But is it...
They didn't quite state that they were discussing issues of defection and whatever.
But whether they agree that they met for defection talks or not, have the writings not been on the wall, like the biblical writings of Mene, Tekel, and Parson?
It's clear that we are moving in direction.
Okay. Is that all from the nation?
Well, no, there is something else now. All right, let's talk about the death of the former CJN, Katsina Ali, who died at the age of 76.
Well, I think that's a loss, a huge loss to the country.
Loss, exactly.
A loss is a loss. There's practically nothing you can do about it. We only, sympathize with the families and condole with the state as well. But at the same time, it would have created an opportunity, for others to step in and all the rest, because obviously he's a leader of a class, and I want to believe that he would have made his impact in a manner that some others will be able to take over from there.
All right. Heads to roll as federal government uncovers 62.5 billion naira fraud in that's NSITF. Well, fraud everywhere. Heads to roll.
Well, let the heads roll. In fact, if such funds have been uncovered, I equally hope that the funds will be recovered. Don't just make allegations. Let the funds be recovered. While dealing with the perpetrators, let the funds be judicially
That is what Nigerians always look for. Let there be diligence in investigation. Let's know the outcome.
But after this huge outrage, the next thing you hear is that,
it's been settled.
Yeah, so we don't want
all right, let's move to the New Telegraph now. Defection, PDP meets Saraki, Tambuwal, Otom, Ahmed. Secondus Atiku, Lamido, Shekarau lead onslaught. Marathon meetings held in Sokoto and Ilorin. The APC bribing opposition parties with 100 million naira, as the ADC is saying that. All right. We've talked about that, so let's move on. Insecurity. Buhari's government confused, incompetent. The Obasanjo is saying that. Fanifere, Haneze, Arewa, South endorse restructuring. And new national carrier, Nigeria Air, targets 81 routes and government to own just 5% equity. Action not to kill domestic airlines, says Minister of State Aviation. So this could be could be one good news in a very long while for Nigerians, if you put it that, if you depending on how you see it.
Good news indeed that at least for once we're beginning to hear Nigeria Air. But with 5% equity, you said. So I'm just wondering how that makes it, a Nigerian.
Well, I think it's more of a flag carrier because they want private sectors to take over the running of it, the operation.
So exactly what I'm suspecting, and let's equally hope that it will be well managed in such a manner that it will be sustained.
All right, that's the New Telegraph.
All right, let's take a look at This Day. This Day, still the same story about defection, ahead defection. Saraki, Tambuwal, Oton, Ahmed meet PDP leaders in Ilorin. Let's leave that out now. Senate probes oil and gas licenses renewal over alleged $10 billion loss of revenue. We follow due process, says DPR. The other writer says crude oil price drops to 3-month low. Well, we just talked about fraud in the other institution, and here the Senate is also talking about probing alleged $10 billion loss of revenue. Well, that's what it is.
Yeah, but we have, what do you call it now, oversight function, committees and the rest. Is it when the crime is perpetrated that they play their role? Is oversight supposed to be a function of, okay, let a crime be committed before you come to the scene?
Yes.
Or they should be following the events such that you even prevent these, things from happening. I expect that there should be a closer collaboration such that the monitoring will be tighter to the extent that you don't even allow these things to fester before they are prevented.
And it does appear there is no proactiveness.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because if you are proactive about this, you will get to the point of, spending and wasting money on investigation and probes and all
set up and all of that. And in the end, and you remember one of the House members in the wake of trying to look at the remittances, into federal accounts. One of them said, look, we want to set up a committee now. Committees were set up in the past and nothing came out of it. And they also tried to influence members of the committee. So how are we sure? that we will get to the end of it.
Until we hear,
we can only hope.
We just look forward to a positive outcome sometimes.
All right, that's it on the front page.
Okay, let's move to the last paper for this morning. Vanguard newspaper. Lagos at standstill as over 12,000 trucks choke roads. Oshodi-Apapa Expressway on permanent shutdown as NPA shipping companies, truck drivers flex muscles over parking spaces holding bays. Motorists, stranded commuters narrate audio.
They didn't mention Ikorodu Road there, that Western Avenue.
Okay.
You know, it's not just Oshodi-Apapa Express. In fact, Ikorodu Road, the same thing. All the way through Palm Grove down here, then towards Joran.
Yes.
In fact, they are permanently on the road. So you begin to wonder, really, where we are heading to. Are you expect commuters to get to their places of work on time? No,
especially those going to CMS or Marina.
It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And
The
because of that, you now find feeder roads, smaller, roads now getting congested.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people are now
looking for alternative routes.
Water will always find its level.
It's level.
and the last time that I traveled to
it's
Apapa,
annoying. It's annoying.
It's nice to hear the word travel to Apapa within Lagos. You're going to Apapa, I'm traveling to Apapa.
You could get to Ore. Meanwhile, somebody heading to Apapa is still on the road.
The trucks, were packed all over the bridges, and this
Till this morning as we speak, it's like that.
All right. Okay, well, that's the Vanguard newspaper now. Thank you very much, Dr. Ekere, for joining us, but we'll be keeping you for the next discussion. So
thank you.
Yeah. Let's take a break, and then we come back to dwell on the next topic. Stay with us on The Breakfast Show.